Welcome to Hypnosis Health Info. I'm Roger Moore. Came across a study that I found quite interesting yesterday. This was October 26th of 2010. Found it in both Reuters and WebMD, and then today I've seen it in other sources. And it says that healthy life could prevent 23% of colon cancers. Getting people to eat a healthy diet, not smoke, cut down on alcohol, and exercise more could prevent almost a quarter of some 1.2 million cases of colon cancer diagnosed each year. Researchers from Denmark found that following recommendations on physical activity, waist circumference, smoking, and alcohol intake and diet could reduce the risk of developing bowel cancer by as much as 23%. Even modest differences in lifestyle might have a substantial impact on colorectal cancer risk. Colorectal cancer, often referred to as bowel or colon cancer, kills about 500,000 people each year worldwide. After analyzing how well the study participants had kept to the lifestyle tips, the researchers calculated if all of them had followed even one extra guideline, around 13% of colon cancer cases could have been prevented. So had they just stopped smoking or cut back on alcohol, lost weight, changed their diet, or exercised more, just any one of those changes would have cut colon cancer risk by 13%. If all the participants had followed all the guidelines, 23% of cases of colon cancer could have been avoided. You know, folks, I keep talking about how healthcare reform has to begin with each of us individually, taking responsibility for our own healthcare, about how we move our bodies, about are we smoking or not, about how much alcohol are we using, are we overweight, what types of food are we eating. We have to take responsibility for that in order to have healthy bodies and to bring down our healthcare costs that are bankrupting our nation as well as people individually. We just simply can't afford to continue with this blind consumption of fat, sugar, processed, fast foods. We can't continue doing that. And I had a couple interesting conversations today that one woman was talking to me about body aches and pains, and then it went into her borderline diabetes, and she was talking about when her blood sugar levels get off, then she ends up with migraines, and yeah, last night she had a cupcake. And another person was talking to me today about just very frustrated about can't lose weight. And this person said, and I only eat one meal a day. And I said, well, there's part of the problem right there, if not the biggest part of the problem. I said, you need to eat 5 or 6 small meals. Oh, I can't do that. That's way too much food. And I said, no, you take the amount of food you're eating, you break it up so you're eating frequently. Your body needs to do that. Our bodies were never meant to go long periods without eating, because we go into starvation mode and fat burning stops, metabolism stops. We need to eat frequent small meals. Well, I eat healthy, was the response. And I said, well, that could be, but you need to eat frequent small meals. And I never eat processed foods. Well, then as the conversation went on, and anything I suggested was met with, with a wall, and no, I'm not interested. And as the conversation went on, well, then I started hearing about ice cream, and about Pringles, and hot dogs, and sausage, and bratwurst. And I said, wait a minute. I thought you said you didn't eat processed foods. Well, I don't believe in deprivation. Deprivation doesn't work. Well, folks, eating when you have when you're borderline diabetic and you're dealing with blood sugar and migraines, and when you're frustrated about your weight and you can't lose weight and you have other health issues as a result, poisoning your body with cupcakes or with ice cream or Pringles or bratwurst, when you stop the poison, I just don't consider that to be deprivation. To me, deprivation is being dead. Deprivation is losing toes or losing a foot because of diabetes. To me, deprivation is having to walk with a walker because your joints are so inflamed, or you're so overweight that you can't move your body. To me, deprivation is having to have a seatbelt extender on an airplane. That's deprivation. And we often end up talking about hypnosis and how hypnosis allows you to take control and change your desires. Hypnosis is not at all about being out of control. To me, being out of control is when you're borderline diabetic and you're eating cupcakes. Being out of control is being overweight and having body aches and pains and eating ice cream and Pringles. That's being out of control. But with hypnosis, you get to take charge of you, to be in control, to be a choice of what you're eating, how much you're eating, and ultimately your weight. And you know, what's really exciting to me is when I work with young children with weight loss, when I work with families, when I work with teenagers, young adults, middle-aged people, older generation folks like myself, senior citizens, no matter how old they are, I've seen it to become actually quite easy for people of any age to make those changes in their desires for what they're eating, and suddenly decide or discover that they have a really healthy desire for fresh pears instead of ice cream, or that they're loving eating grapes or carrots or whatever it might be. They're loving eating brown rice and quinoa and other whole grains instead of eating Pringles. It really does and can become quite easy with hypnosis. And just yesterday it was so exciting, I had 3 clients come in just thrilled to death. That specifically talked about how easy it's been for them to get off the junk foods, the fast foods, how easy it's been for them to just walk past the Halloween candy, zero interest in it because of hypnosis. So if you want to get better, if you want to have good health, if good health is more important to you than Halloween candy or ice cream or cupcakes, then I urge you, find out about hypnosis, put hypnosis to work in your life. I'm Roger Moore, and this is Hypnosis Health Info.